Hey guys, Tena. Welcome back to my channel. Today's video, as you can tell by the title, is going to cover how to be more put together as a registered nurse. So I hope that you guys will enjoy it and that you'll find this information helpful. Just a quick little disclaimer, you do not have to follow any of these tips if you don't want to. Not one of these tips is going to make you more put together compared to the next person. These are just little things that I've picked up from the people around me at work that I feel are most put together, and little things that I do for myself to feel more put together when I go to work and feel just a little bit more professional. So once again, you don't have to do these things if you don't want to. I'm sure that whatever your style is, that fits you best, but these are just little things that I've learned along the way that I wanted to share with you guys. So just want to put that disclaimer out there. So I have a couple of tips for you guys. The first tip is to drink a lot of water on your shift. This is really hard to do, especially as a nurse, because we are going on our feet pretty much the full shift. And to drink a lot of water and have to run back and forth to the bathroom a lot can be rough, especially if you don't exactly have time to go pee. I currently work in the ICU, and sometimes it can be such a hectic night that you really don't want to even leave the desk or leave your patient's room because they may be in serious condition and it may be a little nerve-wracking. So this is one you kind of have to be careful with, but being hydrated alone will help you a lot. So this is the gallon water bottle that I use that my husband actually got for me, and I take it to work with me every night. Do I always drink the full gallon? No, definitely not. Sometimes it's only half of it. Sometimes it is the full thing. But I did notice that after 2 weeks of consistently drinking that much water when I could, my bladder actually got used to it, and I was peeing less often and I felt more hydrated. And overall, I just felt better. Like, my bloating was reduced, and I work night shift, so it's easy to get your metabolism, eating habits schedule off. The second tip that I have for you guys is to wear a matching scrub set. Now, once again, this is kind of a personal preference thing, and you can obviously mix and match colors. And I know in certain floors like pediatrics or labor and delivery, you can't always wear the scrub set that you want. Sometimes you have to wear OR scrubs. And sometimes it's more practical to wear a pediatric scrub top that has cartoons and things on it, or animals, because that fits where you're working. But where I work, I've noticed that I've gotten the most compliments and look and feel more professional when I wear a matching scrub set. So the same color. And then along with that, making sure that you're choosing scrubs that, don't have too many stains on them. And then lint rolling your scrubs. I have a set of black scrubs that I almost always get some kind of fur or my own hair on, or lint on. And so if you remember to take a little mini lint roller with you in your backpack or bag and keep in your locker and lint roll yourself, that also just looks a little bit better. Because I know that I notice, and I don't judge anybody for it, but I notice if somebody wears black or a darker color and see all the fuzz on their shirt, and part of me just wants to take a lint roller and lint roll them for them. So that's just another little hack. Another thing is, don't over accessorize. This is something that I used to do. I used to wear more jewelry, and then I just realized that it wasn't practical, especially in the ICU setting. So a lot of times, literally all I'll do is just wear small hoops or a necklace or rings, but I don't usually do all three at once. And if I do, they're all very dainty. And you'll notice my stethoscope would get caught up in my necklaces, which is why I don't really wear them as much anymore. Big hoops can get caught in things too. And sometimes you have confused patients, and every once in a while they'll try to rip something out, which sounds horrible, but it does happen. I've had confused patients before who would either grab my stethoscope or grab my necklace or an earring, and you just don't want to wear anything too big. So if you do wear jewelry, I would wear something dainty or smaller, more chic looking, and try not to over accessorize. And speaking of accessories, my next tip is to not overdo it on what you have on yourself. I know some people use fanny packs, and kudos to them. I do not, but if that's up your alley, go for it. But I have noticed that some people will just load their pockets down and then either their pants are sagging or they look bulky or there's just so much going on. So just figure out what you need for your job and maybe even for that shift specifically. So the only things I keep on me are like a small pad of paper. I don't keep like a whole notebook on me, and I don't keep my clipboard on me at all times. It usually stays at the desk and only goes in the room when I need it. I keep my scissors, Kelly clamps, stethoscope, and like a pen light, and then maybe a calculator like on my phone. And that's really all I ever take into the rooms with me. Sometimes I'll go and I'll put flushes and alcohol swabs in my pockets to be ready to like flush IVs and whatnot. And a lot of times I just take those when I do my med pass into the room with me and leave them in the room, because it's just flushes and alcohol swabs. And that way next time I go into the room, I'm prepared. It's in there. It's even stocked for the next person if they find that they forgot those things. But it's not like overloading my own pockets and making it look bulky or anything. The next tip that I have for you to be a little bit more put together, and that comes highly useful, is to have a smartwatch of some kind or Fitbit, because especially during codes, it's great to have a timer on you, or like Siri or Alexa or something like that, to just say like, hey, set a timer. So you can set a timer for like 2 minutes, like if you need to give epi or start compressions, or start timing when the code began and to see how long it is for documentation later. But having a watch on you is great for pulse checks, for codes, checking your messages if you want to make sure that there's not an emergency, but then not having your phone on you, to be a little bit more professional. And so I just highly recommend a smartwatch for those reasons. So another thing, I used to have a whole binder that I would take to work, and I still do, but I keep it in my locker and only pull it out when I need it. And instead, I've narrowed things down to little cheat sheets that I keep on the back of my clipboard and on my badge tag. So I've written down the notes that are most pertinent to my unit and what I need to know specifically. So things like lab draws, the way we put in post-op heart orders, and certain things like that. And I've literally written them on sticky notes and taped them to the back of my clipboard. So I have a little cheat sheet there anytime I need it, and I can refer to it very quickly. But I don't have like a stack of paper, a whole binder, which I do have a binder. I just don't keep it on me at all times. And that way it just is a little bit more efficient, and I don't have to go to people quite as often to remember that I have the information on me. I'll show you guys these badge clips, which are super cute. I got these from ScrubPocket, and I will put their link in the description box below. But they are super cute, really easy to use. You can mix and match things. Obviously, we all have certain concepts that don't stick great in our brains, and sometimes calculations are harder to remember as opposed to just fact information. So I have some little ScrubPocket badge clips, like cheat cards that I keep on my badge, and a lot of them have to do with like ventilator settings, lab draws, order of draws. I have this really sweet one that's like something you can read if a patient passes, and I find that helpful because sometimes it's hard to know what to see. I just love this like collection set that I got. So I will put their link in the description box below. I love working with them. I love supporting small business. So if you guys want to take a look at their online store, please go for it. They're on Instagram as well, and you can see some of their badge clips and stuff on my own Instagram too, which I'll put below. The next thing that I have is to pack your lunches in advance. So this is something that I've learned on night shift. Sometimes I wake up late in the evening, afternoon, and I have forgotten to pack a lunch for midnight, or I'm just in a rush. But I've noticed that when I take my time to actually pack ahead, I eat better and I eat healthier, and I'm not tempted to go up to the cafeteria and get something when I'm really hungry. If I pack snacks, then I'm less tempted to get snacks from the vending machine down the hallway. So this is something that is just an energy booster, puts you more together, and keeps you healthier. And then kind of along with that, make sure you keep things in your locker that you know you're gonna need. So for myself, personally, as a female, I keep feminine hygiene products in my locker, and you never know when somebody else is going to need them. And then I also keep meds like Advil or Tylenol or Midol, which is really great if you're on your period. or like Tums. I get bad acid reflux at night, just doing the whole night shift thing. And so having those things in your locker will help you feel a little bit more put together in case you start to feel headache come on, or if you're having cramps, or if you're having acid reflux. It just makes your shifts go so much better, and you never know when a friend might need one. Another tip is to wear comfortable shoes. I cannot stress this enough. I currently wear Clove shoes, and I love them. They're very comfortable. Everybody has their own preference, and I haven't tried enough shoes to really give good feedback on what would be the best brand or pair. I just kind of chose one and went with it and ended up loving it. But having comfortable shoes for 12-hour shifts, 3 days a week, is important because your feet will be less sore, you'll have a little bit more energy, and you won't be sitting at your desk rubbing your feet because they're sore all the way through the shift. Another tip that I have is to actually keep your hair up either in a headband or ponytail or clip. I personally enjoy claw clips because they keep my hair better in place. And when I've done compressions, I have a claw clip that has actually kept my hair in place for like a full 5 minutes of compressions before. So highly recommend claw clips because they really keep it in place, especially if you're a female. Keep your hair up. I've actually heard patients make comments before about if you're like leaning over them to do a dressing change. Obviously you don't want your hair like dangling in their dressing because that's unhygienic and it's just not cool. And I've heard people even without doing tasks like that, doing skills like that, I've heard patients make comments to nurses like, you should really put your hair up, that's not hygienic. And obviously you can do what you want. I wear my hair down half the time. Sometimes I have it in a braid, but it does make you a little bit more professional, especially when you're dealing with things like wounds or bed changes, and you just don't want to get it into anything, not just for the patient's sake, but for your own sake. You never know what your hair is going to get into. And even though I take a shower as soon as I get home, I still don't want to be carrying it around with me if I can help it. Another tip that I have, and this one kind of goes out to all my night shifters out there, is looking more awake. So if you don't want to use a ton of energy drinks to look more awake, but you still have bags under your eyes like I do, you don't always have to wear heavy makeup. Sometimes it's not always practical. You don't want to load your face up with makeup, especially because we're still wearing masks. I personally use these under eye patches that have like caffeine in them to kind of wake my eyes up. So I'll put those on right before I go to work. And then I use this eye cream by e.l.f. that I'll put on underneath my eyes after the patches to just kind of wake me up a little bit. And then I'll even use eye drops too. So the eye drops kind of like take the redness out of my eyes, especially if I'm trying to flip my schedule. So those 3 things alone make me look a lot more awake. And then sometimes I'll put concealer under my eyes because I've got dark spots. It just happens. Obviously you don't have to do any of those things, but personally it makes me feel more awake, and it's something that I recommend because you want to look awake and alive and energetic when you go to work. And last but not least, make sure that you have some kind of like daily checklist with you. When I first started as a graduate nurse resident on my own, I had to make a checklist to make sure that I was on top of things because it's imperative that you have good time management skills. And so sometimes it's really easy to get up with the hustle bustle, but if you have a checklist in like the back of your clipboard to refer to, you'll be like, okay, I've actually done a lot, but here are my priorities, and you can kind of use it to reprioritize what needs to be done and just make sure you're not missing anything by the end of the shift before you give shift report. And those are all the tips that I have for you guys. I hope that you found this video helpful. Once again, I'll leave a link in the description box below to those little batch cheat like cards that I find really useful, and hopefully you guys will. And if you did find this video valuable, please leave me a comment below, or if there's a tip that you have on being more put together, please leave it for the other subscribers in the box below. And speaking of subscribing, don't forget to like and subscribe so I can put more content out for you guys. I just wanted to end the video with letting you guys know that I have a special code for until March 31st for nursing.com. So nursing.com I've talked about before, but it's a great website and resource tool for nursing students, pre-nursing students, and even graduate nurse residents. So it's basically has all sorts of things from helping you do lab skills checkoffs, because sometimes we're in school and we learn the checkoff skill once with our instructor, and then we're expected to do it again and get checked off on it. And so having that performed in front of you only one time is sometimes difficult, especially when they don't put out a video for you to watch later. But nursing.com actually has lab skills videos on it, so you can hone those skills and do your best and pass those comps without any trouble. It also has NCLEX prep guides on it, and then it also has cheat sheets. So you guys know how much I love cheat sheets, even as kind of a newer nurse and back as a graduate nurse resident. I love cheat sheets. It helped me feel more put together. It gave me references, and it kept up my learning and education even when I was out of school. And then, of course, they even have CCRN prep guides. So if you are a full-fledged nurse like I am, I'm in critical care and I want to get my critical care certification, and they have prep courses for that too. So right now they're having an awesome deal, and I have a code for 36% off on their subscription, which makes their subscription only $25 a month right now. So that is an amazing deal for everything that it provides. I'll leave it below, and please use my link below too so that you can truly get that. And thanks again for watching my video. Bye guys.